Good morning, and thank you for joining our webinar on Emissions Reduction Alberta's Strategic Energy Management for Industry Program, or SEMI. Taking advantage of SEMI will set your facility on a path to success by enabling energy savings, increasing competitiveness, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge where we are. In the spirit of reconciliation, we at ERA acknowledge the privilege of living, working, and investing on traditional treaties, which include Treaty 6, Treaty 6, Treaty 7, and Treaty 8 nations, OTP Miswak, Métis Government of the Métis Nation, Inuit, First Nations, and all others who live and care for these lands. We are dedicated to promoting a culture of collaboration and meaningful engagement. Before we get into the agenda, I'd like to start by going through a few housekeeping items, just to make sure we get the most out of our time today. First of all, we are expecting almost 100 participants, so everyone's microphone is muted to avoid unintentional background noise. On the bottom of your screen, you will notice a Q&A icon. Clicking this will open a panel where you can type in your questions. Feel free to submit your questions at any time during the webinar. Submitting early can increase the chance they'll be addressed during the Q&A session. To view the webinar in full screen mode, click View in the top right corner, then select Full Screen. If you encounter technical challenges related to the webinar connection, please email sashworth@eralberta.ca. However, if you can't resolve your technical issues or if you need to leave early, don't worry. The recording of this webinar will be posted on the SEMI program website. The recording will include both the presentation and the live Q&A. Now, in terms of an agenda for today. After introducing our guest speakers for today's webinar, I'll start with a quick introduction to ERA and Enerva, followed by a high-level overview of the SEMI program. Then we'll move into today's topic, an overview of the new Capital Retrofit application process. We will have Stan from Enerva join us to walk through key dates for the new process, how applications will be evaluated, and the eligibility criteria, the post-activity process, and we will wrap up with a Q&A session. With that, let's get started. My name is Miki, and I am the Program Coordinator at Emissions Reduction Alberta. I am joined by Stan, SEMI Key Account Manager Lead at Enerva. Before we dive into today's discussion, I'd like to start with a quick round of introductions. I'll begin with a brief overview of Emissions Reduction Alberta for those who may be less familiar with who we are and what we do. ERA has a proven track record of fulfilling the mandate, vision, and strategic priorities that you see on this slide. Our organization receives its funding from the Government of Alberta through the Technology Innovation and Emissions Reduction Tier Fund. When former Minister Rebecca Schultz announced funding for ERA's SEM program on October 16, 2024, she emphasized that businesses seeking access to capital must show a genuine commitment to reduce emissions and enhancing their environmental performance. ERA investments ensure Alberta has competitive businesses that deliver sustainable environmental outcomes, attract investment, create jobs and grow our GDP. Our vision is anchored in the belief that our success is measured in both economic and environmental terms. I would now like to pass it over to Stan, who will provide an overview of Enerva Energy Solutions.
Thank you very much, Miki. Hi, everyone. It's great to speaking to you today. I'll briefly share a bit about Enerva. ERA selected Enerva through a procurement process to support the delivery of SEMI program. We're a team of mechanical, electrical, and chemical engineers supported by technologists that understand energy use, energy performance, and energy analysis. Our group uses a range of software tools to establish energy baselines, develop energy models, and evaluate energy performance improvements. We also leverage our library of energy saving opportunities for electrical and thermal energy systems. Calgary is our home to our Center of Excellence for Energy Management. It serves as the development hub for our advanced energy and emission analysis, and it's also a central location for our energy management professionals. Our primary goal is to provide exceptional service to the program participants and maximize your ability to leverage the SEMI program.
Thank you, Stan. Now let us walk you through the SEMI program and how it's driving real impact. Our SEMI program helps industrial and manufacturing facilities improve their energy performance and increasing profitability by offering co-funding to implement an integrated system of practices, processes, and capital retrofits. Taking advantage of the SEMI program will set your facility on a path to success by enabling energy savings, increasing competitiveness, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. With funding from the Government of Alberta's Technology Innovation and Emissions Reduction, or TIER Fund, and Natural Resources Canada, NRCan, SEMI offers financial incentives that cover up to 50% of eligible project cost for for-profit organizations and up to 100% for not-for-profits and Indigenous organizations. To be eligible, a facility must be owned or leased in Alberta and been in operation for at least 1 year. An additional requirement is for the facility to be operating in a specific sector defined by the North American Industry Classification System, NAICS code. These include agriculture, forestry, mining, manufacturing, and transportation, to name a few. You can find more detailed information on the SEMI program website, including documents such as program brochure, terms and conditions, application guidelines, and FAQs. All participants are required to first undergo a Facility Readiness Assessment, FRA, to help identify and recommend further eligible SEMI activities. The FRA will provide a detailed energy assessment and analysis of your facility's energy use. ERA's service provider, Enerva Energy Solutions, will deliver the FRA as we want to ensure we are collecting data consistently. As of now, Capital Retrofits and the Energy Management Information System, EMIS, are available under the SEMI program. EMIS will unlock the ability to identify energy-saving opportunities, track and verify energy savings, and improve operational efficiency. We will take a closer look at capital retrofits from the next slide. Please note that energy assessments and audits and strategic energy management training are fully subscribed and not accepting new applications. I will now turn it over to Stan.
Great. Thank you, Miki, again. I have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's start with discussing the Capital Retrofit program timelines and what has changed since the recent past. Since the launch of SEMI program in October 16th of 2024, capital retrofit activity has been based on the first come, first served model, and funding was approved once the applicant was able to successfully prepare and submit their capital retrofit application that was satisfying program requirements. This application was reviewed and quality controlled by Enerva, returned back to the applicant for their internal signature, and then forwarded to ARA for the final review and approval. This whole process is demonstrated on the PowerPoint tile on the left side of the slide. As this activity experienced very high demand for the funding and already reached in excess of half of the budget allocation, the decision was made to change the program requirements for the first come, first serve to the fixed intake criteria, which is where all submitted grant applications starting from January 7th will be first accumulated, reviewed, and then ranked to ensure more transparent and equitable assessment process focused on prioritizing greenhouse gas emissions reduction and effectiveness of the capital retrofit measures. As you can see on the central slide of the slide, fixed intake capital retrofit application to be submitted exclusively via SEMI portal. All submissions should be of the highest quality possible with all relevant supporting documentation attached to the application. The new process is designed around the quality of the submission and not the speed of the application. The second phase of the capital retrofit application process will be concluded by March 2nd, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That brings the program to the third stage, the evaluation, and it will take place between March 3rd and March 31st, where all submitted capital retrofit applications to be reviewed, scored, and graded based on the published ranking criteria, which we'll discuss in the next slide. Grant application requests will be compared to the available funding and awarded to the applicants with the best and the most impactful capital retrofit incentives. All applications and all applicants who submitted their capital applications between January 7th and March 2nd will be contacted by March 31st's deadline and informed on the outcome of their application. In the next slide, this one, we'll discuss the evaluation criteria for the capital retrofit application submitted between January 7th and March 2nd. As a general reminder, all capital retrofit applications selected for the funding should be fully completed, initiative executed and commissioned by March 31st of 2027, which is the end of the SEMI program, which is approximately 14 months away from today, to specify and satisfy program requirements. One of the primary criteria for the capital retrofit application is an abatement cost, determining the cost of the project lifetime greenhouse gas reduction relative to the total incentive cost provided by the SEMI program. Projects with lower abatement costs will be scoring higher during the evaluation process, and the formula of the abatement cost, you can see it in the slide on the upper side. The second important consideration is a parent company funding cap. It's another change. The SEMI program recognizes that there's currently a number of SEMI applications with multiple enrolled facilities and FRA processes on the go. In order to provide an opportunity for as many capital retrofit applications as possible, the second phase of the capital retrofit process will impose the incentive limit to $1 million per parent company and not $1 million per FRA application. That means that applicants that already obtained some funding prior to January 7th will have to recalculate the remaining balance with a maximum of up to $1 million per their organization. Any proposed viable capital retrofit projects exceeding $1 million cap will be put on a wait list pending available funding via program's attrition rate when the current applicants in a pipeline unable to complete their projects, or additional funding for the program. The next criteria is a technology diversity. While capital retrofit applications are being reviewed, the preferences will be given to applicants with technology that has received less funding to date. In this segment, specific applications will be reviewed on case-by-case basis. Next important consideration during capital retrofit application is the application quality, as we'll cover in the next slide on the process capital retrofit application via semi-portal. Clarity, quality, and completeness of supporting documentation submitted will assist the SEMI program with a proper evaluation and contribute to the consequent capital retrofit application high ranking. Last but not least, to ensure fairness during capital retrofit application assessment for indigenous and non-profit organizations, those parties will be scored separately. Abatement costs for those organizations will be calculated with a different weight function for the ranking criteria. Now, let's discuss semi-portal user interface and application process in particular. As you can see in the central left part of the slide, the capital retrofit application workflow consists of the 4 major steps. First step, account creation and facility naming. It covers organization, registration, and facility setup. In most cases, the setup has been already executed by the Enerva team inside the semi-portal on behalf of the applicant. For new FRA applications, they need to begin with registering your organization in the semi-portal. This will establish the primary contact, parent company profile, and the facility address for your FRA application. The second step includes creation of a capital retrofit application itself and the completion of the pre-activity step, which we'll discuss shortly in more details in our next slides. Third step, while completing your pre-activity capital retrofit, applicants will have an opportunity to upload all relevant supporting documentation based on a guide available online. Once capital retrofit pre-activity form has been filled up, it can be submitted by the applicant for Enerva team's review. And once validated, terms and conditions can be executed either digitally via the portal or offline with the terms and conditions file PDF downloaded, signed by the applicant digitally or in person with a pen, and then re-uploaded back into the semi-portal. If capital retrofit initiative is selected for the semi-funding, ERA will execute terms and conditions from their side, effectively locking the funding for the applicant. And lastly, the initiatives that already received program funding and already commissioned their initiatives, including capital retrofit applications that applied retroactively, a post-activity capital retrofit step can be completed based on the guide available online. This step also requires the submittal of the evidence, including measurement verifications reports, photo, design documents, paid invoices to initiate the grant payment to the applicant. We'll have a detailed slide on that a little bit later. In this slide, we'll expand on the most important modules for the capital retrofit application semi-portal. On the left, you can see the module for project savings, where the applicant will have an opportunity to input estimated percentage of energy savings for their selected capital retrofit initiative and estimated annual dollar savings. Supporting documentation is a feasibility study with a calculation should be provided as well. There's one important distinction. The capital retrofit projects that are included in scope of work as a part of FRA assisting the applicants, those energy savings calculations and feasibility studies will be provided by Enerva, and the file will be shared as well. Capital retrofit projects submitted outside the FRA scope, the applicant will be responsible for the feasibility study and energy saving calculations themselves directly. This module also contains non-energy benefits questionnaire, and we'll discuss it in our next slide. The next module, project management. In addition to the project start date and in-service date, there's a requirement to include a project work plan. If the project proposal that you have received from your primary project contractor does not contain this information, the semi-portal has a sample file Excel for the capital retrofit work plan to be completed. It can be completed by the applicant, re-uploaded in the section of the supporting documentation. So in this module, we'll discuss non-energy benefits in the questionnaire. The application has an opportunity to declare non-energy benefits for the execution as a capital retrofit initiative. Those benefits include gains in productivity, project quality, product quality, work safety, work environment development, working environment, waste and material handling, and other possible improvements. To increase the quality of your application, please identify as many of those non-energy benefits as you can. In the next module, we'll discuss the capital retrofit application and relative target expenditure. The applicant will have opportunity to define their expenses through the provided table, identifying the cost, contractor name, quote references, budget amounts per line item, and GST. The application can contain only the few lines or an extensive list of expenditures. Each line should be supported by the evidence in the form of attached quote or budget. While performing quality assurance on submissions, the Enerva team will have to match all attached quotes with a table of expenditures. So please assist our team by submitting a well-marked files and matching corresponding amounts. As the last topic of our discussion in a capital retrofit application process, I would like to quickly share some of the most common errors that the program encountered while we were reviewing capital retrofit application from the past. Those examples include project descriptions is too short or does not fully provide information about the retrofit initiatives for the assigned technical reviewer. Non-energy benefits questionnaire is being missed or incomplete. Capital initiatives that was not included into FRA is missing a feasibility study. Reminder that, again, capital retrofit included in FRA, Enerva will assist the applicant with all supporting files and engineering calculations, while the applicants that are working on the projects outside the FRA are responsible for their own calculations. If there are any questions or concerns, please reach out to your account manager or engineering from our team. The next issue, provided engineering calculations are incorrect or the units of measurements being mixed up. Expenditure info, attached quotes are not matching the provided expenditures on the table, or the evidence in the quotes completely missing. Another observation, major contractor is missing in application. So as part of your application process, you will have to assign a major contractor, and that particular step has been missed. Please contact your contractor to ensure they are registered in the SEMI portal so you can assign them to your initiative. It takes less than 5 minutes to get it done. Now, we have prepared an example of a case study which will demonstrate how capital retrofit application will be ranked during the fixed intake period. The application case number 1, Waste Heat Recovery Initiative, identified submission parameters are making this application strong. At first, the applicant decided to decrease the requested funding from the program standard 50%, which is a typical maximum for for-profit applications, so for-profit companies, to 44%, and the applicant's funding share increased to 56 or $500,000. The second strong parameter is a lower abatement cost coming from a lifetime greenhouse emission reduction. Abatement cost formula shows the cost of $6.67 per saved ton of CO2 emission. Last part of a strong submission is a well-defined project plan, demonstrating that the project will be fully commissioned by December 1st of 2026, 4 months ahead of a deadline, March 31st, 2027, therefore minimizing project risks of being not on time. Now, once the capital retrofit initiative has been installed and commissioned, the applicant has an opportunity to go to their capital retrofit application inside the SEMI portal and to complete their post activity, which is the final step. Post activity includes submittal of the measurement and verification plan that outlines the details of the energy savings as they were measured after the project has been executed. Measurement and verification report verifying the performance and the saving achieved, as the outcome of a completed retrofit. Project photos showing the system being fully installed and operational, available project design documentation like drawing schematics as received from the primary contractor upon installation. Lastly, similar to the pre-activity application, the applicant will be asked to complete the table of the actual expenditures occurred as a part of their capital retrofit initiative, and to provide an evidence by the attaching relevant paid invoices. Upon submission of the post-application inside the semi-portal, the Enerva team will contact the applicant to schedule a virtual or in-person site visit, inspection leading to the issuance of the in-service certificate. As a final step, applicant will have an opportunity to provide relevant banking information in a safe and secure manner to receive a semi-program funding. In this slide, we'll summarize the key reasons why Measurement and Verification Plan, or MMV, as we call it in short, is such an important part of the semi-program. First, MMV helps us to verify energy savings. We move beyond estimates and confirm that projects installed at the facility are actually delivering the energy reduction that was expected. The projects, both the participant and the program, are built confidence in the future investment. Second, measurement verification allows us to quantify greenhouse gas reductions. By tying measurement energy savings to emission factors, we can translate kilowatt hours or gigajoules saved into the tons of CO2 reduced. This is critical for organizations with net zero targets and for Alberta's broader climate objectives. To meet program requirements, the participants must implement a post-project monitoring plan covering at minimum year 2030-2031 energy savings, greenhouse gas emission reductions, and operational cost savings, as well as clear description of any core benefits. Finally, robust measurement and verification supports transparent reporting. It provides a traceable data trail that can stand up to internal audits, external reviewers, and future program evaluations. In short, measurement and verification is not just a technical formality, it is what makes energy saving and emission reduction claims credible, repeatable, and trusted. Now we have established our goals. Let's look into the roadmap for the measurement and verification plan. To ensure that our energy savings are real, transparent, and verifiable, we'll follow those 6 critical steps. The facility overview is where we gain a deep understanding of the site's context and the current operations. We can't measure change if we don't fully understand the environment we're working in. The next, we defined retrofit scope. This is about drawing a fence around the project. We identified specific boundaries and measurement areas so that we are only tracking the variables impacted by our improvements. Third, we established the baseline conditions. This is our point A. We record the initial energy usage and operating conditions before any changes are made, providing the benchmark against all future savings being measured. Once the project is underway, we determine the reporting period. We need to decide on a specific time frame for the data collection, whether this is monthly, quarterly, or annually, to ensure we capture enough data to account for seasonal or operational shifts. The 5th step is how. In calculation methodology, we outline the specific mathematical formulas and models we'll use to translate raw data into the proven energy savings. This ensures our results are specifically sound. Finally, we specify the reporting format. This ensures that the final measurement and verification report is structured clearly, making the results easy to digest for all stakeholders and meeting the requirements of our partners. By following this structured path, we ensure that every gigajoule saved is accurately accounted for. This framework is supported by our partners at Emission Reduction Alberta and Natural Resources Canada to maintain the highest industrial standards.
Thank you, Stan, for this overview. With that, let's move into the final part of our presentation, the Q&A session. I want to highlight that on the SEMI website, we have provided answers to commonly asked questions. On this slide, I have also provided a summary of the most common questions we have received to date about the capital retrofit. If you haven't already, please type your question into the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. The first one is, do I still need to complete the FRA first? Yes, you will need to sign the FRA participant terms and conditions before submitting your capital retrofits application. Please be advised that registering or completing an FRA does not guarantee funding for your capital retrofit project. The second, when can I expect to hear about the progress of my application on the waitlist? You can expect to hear a funding decision shortly after March 31st, 2026. Is the waitlist first come, first serve? No. Project submitted for pre-approval between January 7 and March 2nd, 2026, 4 p.m. will be scored and ranked based on evaluation criteria. The evaluation criteria include abatement cost, parent company funding cap, diversity of technologies supported, and application quality. Funding will be available to the highest scoring project first. For more details, you can scan the QR code and refer to the Capital Retrofit page. That brings us to Q&A. Feel free to ask us any questions. Please note that we may use your questions in our frequently asked questions on the SEMI website. We likely won't have time to answer all of them today, so if we don't get to your question, please submit it to us by email at semi@eralberta.ca, and we'll be happy to respond to you. Now let's see what we got. The first question is about the government incentive stacking. I will go ahead and answer this one. The maximum level of total government funding must not exceed 75% of total project costs. However, if the recipient is a provincial, territorial, or municipal government, a registered not-for-profit organization, or an Indigenous recipient, the total Canadian government funding authorized can cover up to 100% of total project costs. Please note that stacking of the green industrial facilities and manufacturing program funding is limited to 50% of project costs. Our second question will be for Stan. What are the typical timelines for the FRA?
Thank you, Miki. Well, it depends on availability of the facility project data. If the data is complete, we can typically have FRA T's and C's ready within a week, completed data processed within 1 to 2 weeks after your signature, and have a capital retrofit submission package ready by week 3, and support your submission for the capital retrofit application in week 4 once quotations are in place from your vendors. The team will then finalize the remaining components of the FRA, including the identification of operational energy savings or the energy management assessment of the following 4 to 6 weeks. If the data is complete, if the data is incomplete, in our case, then the timelines will extend.
Thank you. Another question for you, Stan. Can you remind us of what key dates we should note? Please outline the next steps.
For sure, Miki. In summary, applications submitted from January 7th to March 2nd will be evaluated during the evaluation period, which will take place between March 3rd and 31st. Funding will be awarded to the highest ranked applications until the available budget for the capital retrofit activity is fully allocated. And the decisions will be communicated to successful applicants by March 31st, 2026. The first step is to register on the SEMI portal. Once SEMI portal registration is done, you will have an opportunity to complete the FRA worksheet, which consists of Excel that you will attach along with your application. Shortly after, Enerva will assign an application engineer, review the submitted information, and schedule a scoping meeting, probably within a week. The scoping meeting will cover any gaps in your submission and identify a likely outcome of your application for the SEMI funding already at this stage.
Thank you, Stan. The next one. What capital retrofit projects are eligible for the SEMI program? I'll take this one. The retrofit must be non-emitting, must achieve a minimum 5% reduction in energy savings and GHG emissions. The payback period must be greater than 1 year. You have signed the FRA terms and conditions. New construction is not eligible. Some examples of retrofits are building envelope upgrades, HVAC system retrofits, air compressor upgrades, lighting upgrades, and VFD motors upgrades. Okay, next one. If I convert an out-of-service oil and gas well to a geothermal well, does it qualify? Mustafa, can you take this one?
Sure, Miki, thank you. Unfortunately, new construction isn't eligible.
Great, thank you. The next one. Are converting natural gas engines used for irrigation water to electric eligible? Mustafa, can you answer this one too?
Absolutely. Converting natural gas engine to electric motor is an eligible measure. However, you should note capital retrofit project must achieve at least 5% energy saving and GHG reduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. The next one. What project scopes will be prioritized for funding approval? Luca, can you answer this one?
Yeah, definitely, Miki. Thanks. Just as a reminder, we have the detailed evaluation criteria on our website, and it's also contained in the slides here as Stan went over. The presentation will be on the website shortly. The first thing we look at for the evaluation criteria is the abatement costs. Projects with a lower abatement cost will score higher. There's also a $1 million max funding cap per parent company. Applicants from the same parent company who have already been approved for $1 million in funding will not be evaluated at this time and instead will be placed on a wait list. Technologies that have received less funding to date will be prioritized higher. This is to ensure that we have a broad range of technologies and companies that are receiving support. We'll also look into application quality. So make sure that your application has all the supporting documentation that is required. If there's back and forth communication required due to lack of supporting documents, this may result in delaying your application review.
Thank you, Luca. The next question. I have one capital retrofit project submitted before January 6 and in progress. I am thinking of submitting another application. How are the projects stacked during the fixed intake period? I'll take this one. A parent company incentive cap of 1 million applies in this case. You may be eligible to receive up to 1 million in total funding across both applications, provided the second application meets the evaluation criteria and scores higher than other applications during the fixed intake period. The next question. How much budget is available for the fixed intake process? Luca, can you answer this one?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the simple answer is it depends. So we continue to monitor uptake, and the amount of budget that remains will be based on potential attrition from pre-approved applications and other activities within the program. Any project that does not receive funding at this time will be placed on a wait list, and will be contacted if additional funding becomes available.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question. If a project has been started but not completed, would the remaining cost of incomplete work qualify for a large for-profit corporation? Mustafa, can you answer this one?
Sure, it depends on the details of the project. We need to establish the baseline first. So if the data is available and the project meet the requirement, let's say the payment after October 2024 and the other condition met, we can enroll you in the program. However, we would encourage you to reach out to us directly and we can discuss it.
Thank you, Mustafa. Our next question. Can the contractor submit applications on behalf of the customer, or will the customer need to be involved with creating these applications within their account? Luca, can you answer this one?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So we definitely encourage contractors to support submitting information as part of the application. However, we do have a requirement that the participant actually needs to submit the application. So maybe just to summarize, you can definitely support the application as a contractor, but the participant will both need to start the application and also submit the application in order for it to be valid.
Thank you. There's a following up question for that. So must the applicants be the property owner, or can the contractor apply on their behalf? Luca, can you also take this one?
So it depends on the situation, but maybe to answer one of the questions, no, the participant does not necessarily need to be the property owner. We understand that there's people that are leasing their buildings, for example. So as long as you have approval from the landlord, that would meet our requirements. The second question maybe requires a bit more follow-up information, but I guess there could be a situation where a contractor is completing an upgrade on their facility. So we do have some FAQs on our website for that specific situation. And one maybe I'll quickly highlight is just that the costs involved for the contractor to complete the upgrade would not be considered eligible if they're doing it on their own facility. However, the equipment would be eligible. So if there's more specific questions related to that project, please feel free to reach out and we're happy to get into more details.
Thank you, Luca. The next question. Do the measurement and verification plan and report need to be prepared by a third-party consultant, or can they be produced internally by a staff with a CEM or CMVP designation? Mustafa, can you take this one?
Great question. It can be prepared by anyone. So if you have a contractor who can take it, we are welcome the contractor M&B. If you can do it internally with the internal staff, subject to the requirement of the context of the M&B plan, also that is possible.
Thank you, Mustafa. Our next question. Assuming a capital retrofit is completed, say in February 2027, when is the MNV report due? Still March 31st, 2027? Mustafa, can you take this one?
Another great question. So as soon as you completed the project and commissioned the project, we are requiring the M&B data to calculate the energy savings and satisfy the program target of the 5%. However, based on the program requirement, the data should be available all the way to the end of the March 2031 if requested by NRCan or ERA. So we are looking at the short period of the data to satisfy the requirement, and then the rest of the data should be ready upon request.
Thank you, Mustafa. Our next question. If a project has multiple contractors performing upgrades, does each contractor fill out their scope in the pre-activity application, or does the contractor summarize all contractor energy savings? I think, Mustafa, you would be the best person to answer this one.
Thanks, Miki. So if the Capital Retrofit project is a combination of multiple sub-projects, we are looking at the baseline for each of them, or option C, as the whole facility upgrade. So it depends on the type of the retrofit and the type of the project you are doing. We encourage you to reach out to us to discuss the details and find out the best way moving forward.
Thank you, Mustafa. Our next question. Will we have time to register for an FRA and have that complete prior to the Capital Retrofits deadline? Mustafa, can you also take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's subject to the fund available, to the available fund and the type of the facility and lots of details there. So again, we are encouraging you to reach out to us and seek the best way moving forward. Thanks, Miki.
Thank you, Mustafa. Okay, let's see if we have more questions. We're gonna wait 30 seconds. Okay, let's wait 15 seconds more. If we don't receive any questions, then we can wrap up our webinar. So if you have any burning questions, please ask us now. Okay, now I see one. Is there a maximum number of upgrades required, like CEIP? Okay, Mustafa, can you answer this one?
Sure. There is no minimum or maximum number of the project. At least you need to meet the 5% savings for the to be eligible for the program. So that 5% savings is going to be calculated based on the baseline of the project. For example, if you have a VFD installation, we are looking at the existing condition of the electromotors, and the energy savings there are going to be calculated accordingly. So there is no minimum or maximum there.
Great. Thank you, Mustafa. Okay, that's all for today. Oh, we have one more. Let's do this. Regarding the feasibility study that supports the proposed capital retrofit, does it need to be prepared by a consultant, or can it be prepared internally? I think we answered similar question this one, but Mustafa, can you answer this one?
I would say if you already apply for another fund, which is energy auditing and assessment, and you have a contractor supported the study, we encourage you to submit the same as the feasibility study. If you already submitted the FRA, we are going to support you through the FRA for the feasibility study. However, if you have another project outside of the scope of the FRA, we encourage you to do the feasibility study yourself or through your contractor and submit the feasibility study that way.
Awesome. Thank you, Mustafa. All right, that's all for today. Thank you all for your participation, and a special thanks to Stan, Luca, and Mustafa for addressing those questions. Ready to start your SEMI journey? Register on the online portal today. We are here to support you every step of the way. We invite you to visit the SEMI program website at eralberta.ca/SEMI. As already mentioned, you will find the application guide, FAQs, terms and conditions, and other supporting documents. If you have unanswered questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our program team at semi@eralberta.ca. A link to the presentation will also be sent to all those who registered for the webinar, as well as posted on ERA's YouTube page. Thank you for joining our webinar today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Have a great day.